The Central Michigan Chippewas, and still coached by Jim McElwain. Of course, there were rumors last season that he could be retiring at the end of last year, but it never happened. He still seems to be doing his thing. Offensive coordinator Paul Petrino, the defensive coordinator Rob Akey. Uh, this team lost a lot last year. We'll say, especially off of the offense. Daniel Richardson now down at FAU. Let's go and pull it up on the screen. Let's show you what we're looking at. They went 4-8 last year. After winning the Sun Bowl against Washington State, they had a massive year. They brought back the running back Lou Nichols and the quarterback Daniel Richardson last year. They expected big things. The issue was the offensive line was not good after they lost some NFL guys. So, we'll see what that means. But, now they're losing those, the star players, and I guess they're keeping some offensive linemen. So let's look through it. Losses, they went 4-8 last year, as I said. Post-game win expectancy was 4.85 and 7.15. So they had one toss-up in there that they ended up losing. It was not a good year overall. They're number 89 in returning production, but that is because they are number 122 in offensive adjusted returning production. They're only bringing back about 39% of their offensive production. They're number 19 in returning adjusted defensive production. They're bringing back over 74% of their defense. So the defense that was pretty decent last year, number 65 in PPA per drive, number 40 in rushing success rate allowed. That's a definitely a good building block, right? So, they got a star quarterback that isn't really known for throwing the ball much. Bert Emanuel had a big end of the season, but he only threw the ball 8 times. Now, part of that had to do with weather, et cetera, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Let's look at this. We'll start off with who they're losing. Richardson, the quarterback, of course, Lou Nichols, the third, the running back. They lost 6 of their top 7 receivers, and they lose 3 of their top 4 defensive linemen. That's not good, right? That's definitely not good. You want your defensive line in there. Again, rushing success rate allowed on defense for them last year was number 40. They weren't great at stopping the pass, but they were okay. Number 74 there. Number 77 in defensive explosivity allowed. We'll start off with the offense. Paul Petrino as offensive coordinator. He came in last season, struggled a bit. Richardson wasn't good. Part of that was probably because of the offensive line. Lou Nichols dealt with some injuries. The offensive line and the wide receivers didn't really perform. There was just some things, right? So the quarterback, Bert Emanuel Jr., he's surprised towards the end of the year. He had 7 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 games, but he was only 4 of 8 passing for 54 yards in 3 games. He threw the ball 8 times in 3 games. They went 1-2. Like, can they win using that kind of scheme? I'm real curious. I will withhold judgment, right? The defense was young last year, but they're number 19 in returning production this year. The issue is they have brought in 0 transfers on defense, but they lose 3 of their top 4 defensive linemen. Defense was good at stopping the run, as I brought up. That's an issue. They only forced 10 turnovers last year. They were number 130 in turnover margin. That's an issue. They need defensive playmakers to step up. The youth has got to take the next step. They got to be better than they were last year for sure. The key players this year, at least that I have put down, Bert Emanuel Jr., obviously, the linebacker Kyle Moretti, defensive back Trey Jones. You got running back Marion Lukes, who's going to step up for Lou Nichols, and the wide receiver Jalen McGowie. Let's look. Last year, their luck rank, which is based on injuries, based on turnover luck, but just the bounce of the ball, was number 126 last year from the guys over at teamrankings.com. That's not great. They are projected favorites in 5 games. They've got 7 games that are toss-ups. Strength of schedule is pretty difficult. Some of that has to do with the fact that they're playing at Michigan State, at Notre Dame, and at South Alabama. And then on top of that, you've got at Ohio, you've got at Ball State, and you play at Buffalo. Those are incredibly difficult road games. So those are not going to be easy either. They underperformed last season. Let's take me off the screen here so that you can see what we're looking at. But they underperformed last year. They have the talent to make a massive improvement for sure. I don't know if McElwain's going to retire. I don't. There were so many things, health issues, whatever else. But he's still doing it. You got to give time, or you got to give the new receivers and defensive line time to step up. I think the offense needs consistency. We got to figure out if Emmanuel can throw the ball, right? The win total sits at 5.5. I lean to the over. The projected record is 5.23 and 6.77 based on win probabilities, but I'm going to go over. I trust Jim McElwain's coaching in some of these close matchups. I think they've got a good shot to make it to another bowl game, right? To win the conference, they're plus 2,200. To go over the 5.5, it's actually juiced to the under. To go over is minus 110. To go under is minus 120. Of course, the latest odds at BetUS. I think they're going to go 6-6. Now, the ceiling on this team, probably 8-4 based on the talent. The floor might be 4-8. Might be time for Jim McElwain to look for another gig. I mean, who knows? But we shall see. We shall see. I like Central Michigan. I liked what McElwain was building there. You can't have years like you did last year, right? And I think any Central Michigan fan would tell you that you had built up something really, really good, and you returned your star running back and your star quarterback. You should have done better than 4-8 last year, no matter what was going on with the defense. So we'll see. But yeah, I've got Central Michigan 6-6. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.